Hello, welcome to today's episode of Escaping the Echo Chamber. I'm your host, Aaron Comey. Here are 3 reasons why I am not voting for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, that's right. My first reason is because that was Bernie Sanders' reaction when asked by Fox News host whether or not he'd be willing to provide more of his income in taxes. He paid a 26% rate on his income. And they said, well, in the past, you said that people should pay a lot more, that people's fair share is a lot more than 26%. So shouldn't you be willing to just provide that money to the government? And his response was, which should be all of our responses when considering voting for Bernie Sanders. Just like that. Because this is a man who expects other people, and not just expects, wants, advocates, is pushing for, and says it's actually an issue of morality. It's an issue of morality that other people aren't paying more taxes. But when pressed on his own money, his own income, and how much taxes he's paying, his answer was, he made over $1 million. He's worth over $1 million. So he is now a millionaire. And they've asked him, they put it to him, why are other people being millionaires bad, but you being a millionaire is good? And, his response is, well, I wrote a good book and I'm not going to apologize for writing a book and people bought the book. Well, tell me this. Why should Jeff Bezos be forced to apologize because he created a company that has made everyone's lives more convenient? Correction. That has brought convenience to a lot of people. Has made everyone's lives more convenient. I'm not some, holy Bezos. No, but it's brought a lot of convenience to many of our lives. Instead of having to go out and buy stuff, boom, we can just log on to Amazon, order it, it comes to our front door. Bernie Sanders, earlier this year, advocated for prisoners to have voting rights. Not just people who have been released from prison, but people who are actually in prison serving time. This year, Bernie Sanders advocated for that, said that's a great idea, that's a great position, that's what should happen. I agree wholeheartedly. In fact, I believe there's a constitutional issue in not allowing prisoners to vote. Prison voting rights is actually something that I've been pushing for quite a while. And it's actually something that I and the Libertarian Party of New York actually put a resolution together in 2017 concerning. Either 2016 or 2017. But years before Bernie Sanders decided to come out. So you may say, well, hey, this is an issue that Bernie has just realized exists and needs to be addressed. Except that Bernie Sanders is from Vermont. Vermont is one of the 2 states in the United States that allows prisoners to vote already. Vermont never, as long as Bernie has been in politics, the state of Vermont has allowed prisoners to vote while in prison. Yet, Bernie Sanders was silent on the issue his entire career. He had nothing to say about it. He was not an advocate for it. He was not pushing for it. He has been a senator in the United States Congress. He was a representative in the U.S. Congress. And never did he say, hey, we need to do this in the rest of the states, until this was the most left-leaning field. And there's a push right now to out-left each other in this current Democratic field. In fact, just in 2016, when facing the centrist, Hillary Clinton, the war criminal, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders said that he believes that prisoners, after they get out, should have the right to vote. That felons after they get out should have the right to vote. He made that distinction during his race for 2016. What changed? The laws in Vermont didn't change, because the laws in Vermont have allowed prisoners to vote this entire time. His entire career, the laws in Vermont have allowed prisoners to vote. But it became popular to outleft each other. And he said, hey, I know an issue that other people aren't thinking of. And that's when he decided to come out with all prisoners should be allowed to vote. That level of hypocrisy is reason number 2 why I'm not voting for Bernie Sanders. Healthcare is a human right. Let's say it is. Let's assume, for the purposes of this conversation, healthcare is a human right. Weapons ownership is a human right. Self-defense is a human right. That doesn't mean it's the government's job to provide this for you. It means you have the right to go and seek whatever healthcare you want. You should be able to. Nobody should be standing in your way of getting the healthcare you need if it's not harming anybody else, if you're not infringing on anybody else's rights. But that's not what he means. That's not what he means when he says healthcare is a human right. When he says healthcare is a human right, he says he's advocating that it's the government's job, the government's responsibility to provide that for us. And by the government, I mean the people, because the government's not actually going to provide for it. The government's going to pay people based on money it's taking from the people. It's going to pay people, medical professionals, and under his Medicare for All bill, at a far lower rate than they are asking, at like 60% of their asking prices and their rates. The government is going to pay people with the money it's taken from the people and force people to provide this health care. So my issue with Medicare for All, there's a huge price tag on it. And healthcare, even if it's a human right, what isn't a human right is forcing somebody else to do something for you that they may not want to do. And now, it may not even be that they don't want to do, but they just may not want to do it for free. They just may not want to do it for 60% or 40% less than they know they're entitled to. The person may have spent many years and a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights studying their craft to learn medicine, to learn what it takes to heal people, to help people. But they've put in the work, and if they feel that they deserve to be compensated, that's their right. Their right is to choose how much they are compensated for what they are doing. Their right. So your right to want healthcare, your right to even need healthcare, doesn't trump someone else's right to be willing to provide it or unwilling to provide it if they don't feel they're being compensated properly. Thank you for checking out this episode of Escaping the Echo Chamber. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.